My name is Lucian Trent. At my sister's wedding, her father-in-law ignored me completely. He didn't even look at me or say hello. He acted like I wasn't there, like I was invisible. I was standing there, dressed nicely, holding a drink, but I knew something he didn't. That man, Roland Rowe, who was proud of his family name, had been trying for 6 months to buy a tech company. What he didn't know was that I helped start that company. It was the same company his business depended on. I built it from nothing while taking care of my sister after our old life fell apart. But Roland only saw what he wanted, a nobody with no name or title. That's how men like him think. And honestly, I didn't mind. Soon, I was going to speak at the wedding. When I introduced myself, his attitude would change. I could see it already. He would look different, hold his wine glass tighter. Some people don't like surprises. Roland didn't. He looked scared. I just smiled. They say the hardest part of losing someone is the silence afterward. That's true. But no one talks about the noise before it, the phone ringing late at night, hearing words you never wanted to hear. For me, that noise was when my college advisor said, "Lucian, there's been an accident." My dad was gone, just like that. One minute he was planning a trip to visit me and my sister Isolda. The next, I was driving back to a hometown that felt strange without him. I was 22, tired from exams. Isolda was 17, about to finish high school. Our mom had left years ago to start a new life with a new family. So it was just the two of us, 2 orphans, 1 car, and a future that suddenly didn't make sense. The funeral was a blur. After that came a harsh truth: debt. Lots of debt. My dad worked for himself, and somewhere along the way, things got bad: loans, unpaid bills, legal problems. He must have tried to protect us, but after he died, the creditors came. They took everything: the house, the car, his workshop. All we had left was a small suitcase of clothes I packed for spring break. My scholarship paid for school, but rent, food, and Isolda's school costs were on us now. That night, after the last family member left and the door closed, I sat on the floor with Isolda. She was crying, hugging her knees under her hoodie. I realized then, no one else was coming. I was the only adult she had left. So, I made a choice. I would finish school and get any job I could to keep us going. I worked at the campus cafe, took evening courier shifts, and slept maybe 4 hours a night. Sometimes I went to class still tired from carrying heavy boxes up 4 flights of stairs, but every dollar I earned had to support both of us. I lost my girlfriend along the way. She was kind, but she needed more than missed calls and forgotten dates. I let her go, not because I didn't care, but because I had nothing left to give. People say you build character slowly, but mine was made from overdraft fees and bus rides. I looked at my little sister and knew she deserved a future, even if it meant I had to give up mine. After I graduated, there was no big celebration, no cap toss, no party, just a quiet sigh and a job offer at a small company doing back-end work. It wasn't fancy, but it paid the bills. I moved us into a small 1-bedroom apartment. Isolda had the bedroom. I slept on the couch. She started community college while I worked with spreadsheets and client calls. Every night, I cooked dinner, even if it was just rice and eggs. On weekends, I caught up on sleep. Even with all that, I kept thinking about the future. I took online classes, marketing, automation, SaaS, anything to improve my skills. I didn't know what would happen, but I promised I'd be ready. Then one rainy Thursday night, I got a message from Felix Marin, an old classmate. He and a friend were building a tech tool to automate back-end systems. He needed someone to manage operations and talk to early clients. I was unsure. It sounded risky, but it also felt exciting, and I hadn't felt excited in a long time. So, I said yes. My life split in 2. From 8 to 5, I wore office clothes and answered to managers. From 7 p.m. to 2 a.m., I worked on code, flowcharts, and presentations with Felix. We worked in coffee shops and borrowed servers. Some nights, I fell asleep with my laptop still open. Money was tight. We argued. One partner left after 6 tough months. Felix and I kept going, barely. Then things changed. A big client tested our tool and cut their work time by 40%. They told others. Soon, we had many demos and busy inboxes. A tech blog wrote about us, and more people wanted to know. But I didn't quit my day job. I had learned how fragile stability was. I saved every cent. I handled customer service, invoicing, and fixing bugs between lunch and late nights. Felix became the face of the company. He smiled for cameras and gave talks. I stayed behind the scenes, and I liked it that way. While other people chased big job titles and LinkedIn fame, I wanted something different, peace of mind. A life where Isolde didn't have to worry about every dollar at the store. A life where her future wasn't shaped by what we lost. She got into a state university, because she earned it. I paid all the bills on time. We had some savings, health insurance, appliances that worked. That felt like a luxury. No one saw how hard it was, and I didn't care if they did. But staying quiet and unnoticed meant people like Roland Rowe met me and thought I was nothing. And that was okay. I'd rather be underestimated than misunderstood. I'd rather be invisible than get fake praise. But life has a way of coming around. Especially when your little sister decides to get married. One Tuesday night, Isolde called. I had just dropped on the couch, still in work clothes, eating cold pasta straight from the container. She sounded excited but also a bit nervous. "Lucian," she said, "I have something to tell you." I thought it was about school, maybe a project or internship. But then she said, "I'm getting married." I froze, my fork in the air. "You're what?" "To Damien," she said quickly, like ripping off a bandage. "We'd been serious for a while, but I didn't tell you because I didn't know how." I blinked. I'd met a Damien once, but she never said anything serious before. "Isolde, you're getting married? That's big. Are you okay?" She laughed nervously. "I'm more than okay. I'm happy. I just wanted to tell you before things went further. He wants to meet you." That caught my attention. Anyone who wants to marry my sister has to want to meet me. I was her brother, yes, but more than that, I was the one who stayed. I'd been her parent, tutor, emergency contact, and friend. If someone wanted to step in now, I needed to see who he really was. We planned to meet Friday for dinner. I said I'd cook. Still remember opening the door and seeing Damien there, flowers in one hand, wine in the other, and a smile trying too hard. Something about him felt familiar. We talked. He was polite, spoke well, and clearly loved my sister, but his last name caught my ear. "Rowe," I said, thinking, any relation to Roland Rowe? He paused too long. "He's my father." That's when I understood. Roland Rowe was one of our biggest clients. He'd been trying to buy our company for months, sending emails that acted like favors but were really deals to control us. He was a businessman through and through, sharp suits, sharp words, known for breaking partnerships to get what he wanted, not evil, just cold and businesslike. And now I was sitting across from his son. I stayed calm and didn't mention work. This was about Isolde. If Damien was a good man, I'd accept it. Later that night, Isolde pulled me aside. "You went quiet for a while. Everything okay?" I nodded. "I'm surprised. You really love him?" "I do," she said. "He's not like his father. He's kind, steady, he listens." I looked at her. She wasn't asking. She was happy, and she didn't get happy easily. "Okay," I said, "then I'm with you." Weeks went by. Wedding plans took over her life. I helped where I could but stayed away from most of the family stuff until the meet and greet. It was at a fancy country club, white tablecloths and waiters in black vests. Isolde asked me to come. I said yes, for her, not them. That day, I met Roland face to face. When I walked in, his eyes found me. He looked me up and down, shoes, suit, posture, then looked away. When we were introduced, he gave me a weak handshake and said, "Oh, you're just her brother. I thought her father would be here." I stared at him. "Our father died a long time ago." He nodded quickly and moved on. Then came the usual question. "What do you do again?" That question showed he was checking me out, judging me. "I work in corporate," I said. That was true, in a way. He didn't hide that he didn't care, didn't even try. And that was fine. I wasn't there to impress him. But a small voice inside me said, "He'll regret this." Later, I told Felix about it. He just laughed and said, "The universe has a weird sense of humor." Weeks passed, and the wedding day came. Isolde looked amazing, not just because of her dress or makeup, but because she knew she was loved and wasn't afraid to love back. Before she walked down the aisle, she squeezed my hand and whispered, "Thank you for everything." I smiled. At the party, I stayed quiet, talking with some guests. Then Roland came over with two men. He walked right past me without stopping. It was on purpose. I felt nothing, only Shorty. He still didn't really know who I was. But he was about to find out. I wasn't planning to say anything. There was no speech planned for me. I'd done my part, walked Isolde down the aisle, posed for family pictures, raised my glass and toasts. That was enough. But someone added me to the speaker list. A caterer tapped my shoulder. "You're next. 2 minutes." I blinked. For what? She pointed to the stage. "Speech, the mic is ready." I could have said no, maybe I should have. But something inside me, tiredness, pride, memories, said no. This was my sister's wedding. The closest thing I had to a daughter was starting a new life. And nobody here really knew me. So, I stood up, buttoned my jacket, and walked to the front. "Good evening," I said, steady. "My name is Lucian Trent. I'm Isolde's brother." That caught their attention. I went on, but I wasn't just her brother growing up. After our father died suddenly, I became her guardian. I was 22, she was 17, we had no family, our mother had left long ago. The room changed. Glasses lowered. Forks paused. I was finishing college when it happened, and I couldn't afford to fall apart, not when she needed food, shelter, and school. So, I worked day shifts, night shifts, and weekends. I slept less than I wanted. I lost friends. I lost someone I loved. I looked at Isolde. She was already crying. "But we made it," I said quietly. "She made it because she's smart, brave, and has a heart that forgave me when I wasn't enough." A quiet sound moved through the crowd. Even Roland, across the room, turned to look at me. "I want to say one more thing," I said, my voice a little stronger. "During those hard years, I helped start a company, a software platform. Some of you might use it." That surprised people. I saw heads turn. Some guests looked at each other. "My co-founder Felix," I said, "joined me on a risky journey. We started with borrowed code and broken laptops. Now, we help some of the biggest companies in the country." I let that sink in. I wasn't there to talk about business, but it's part of the story that brought me here today. I looked at Isolde and Damien. "I'm proud of both of you. You found something rare: trust, partnership, happiness, and I'm honored to say, you're ready." Then I stepped away from the microphone, nodded at the applauding crowd, and went back to my table. But I didn't get far. Roland Rowe came up to me like a shadow. He held out his hand, smiling tightly. "Lucian, right? That was a good speech." I shook his hand firmly but not eagerly. "Thank you. You're the co-founder of Ye." I nodded. "Yes, the company you've been trying to buy." His smile disappeared for a moment. "I didn't know," he said. "Why didn't you tell me when we met?" I looked him in the eyes. "Because I wanted you to see who I really am, not who you thought I was." He said nothing. He didn't have to. I smiled politely. "Enjoy the evening, Mr. Rowe." Then I walked past him, back to Felix, who raised an eyebrow but said nothing. We clinked glasses. The tension was gone. The rest of the night went smoothly and happily. Isolde danced like she was free from the past. Damien was polite. Roland stayed calm. But something in Roland's eyes had changed, less pride, more careful thinking. That was fine with me. I hadn't lied, but I also hadn't told him everything. We never sold the company to Roland Rowe, not because I was angry or because of how he treated me. The offers looked good on paper. But I learned to see past the numbers. His interest wasn't based on respect, it was because he thought everything and everyone has a price. And I don't do business with men who only value you after reading your resume. So Felix and I stayed independent. We grew the company our way. We didn't need to sell. We needed room to grow. Ironically, Rowe Industries still uses our software. His employees send support tickets through our system like everyone else. We answer quickly and professionally, never personal, just business. Damien never brought it up. He respects boundaries, and most of all, he respects Isolde. Over time, we've built something close to trust. I don't hold his last name against him. He's not his father. He never was. Isolde is doing well. She has peace now, real peace. She teaches, gardens, and volunteers on weekends. And she smiles in a way she didn't when we were younger, when life felt fragile. That smile is what I fought for. That's what makes it all worth it. Sometimes people still think I'm just a quiet, unimportant guy. I let them think that because I know the truth. Those who ignore you when you're silent are the same ones who rush to respect you once they learn your title. But by then, their respect means nothing. True respect shows up when no one is watching. It's not a reaction, It's a choice. Roland's biggest mistake wasn't underestimating me. It was thinking that being unseen means being unimportant. I never needed the spotlight. All I needed was to know my sister would be okay. And now she is. That's more than enough for me. If this journey taught me one thing, it's this. You don't rise by being loud or forcing people to see you. You rise by standing firm, quietly, steadily, with dignity. When people finally notice, let it be on your terms. Because in the end, what matters most isn't who applauds you. It's who you protected when no one was watching.